How y'all doing? This is one of my random live moments that just pops up because stuff is going through my mind and I'm thinking about something. So I just figured I'd do a live chat about building bridges. And what I mean about building bridges, one thing that is important in any business, whether it's personal, is relationships. And so when you are in business, building that relationship helps you with your network. It is an important part of your success in many aspects. You build those relationships amongst coworkers, you build those relationships with individuals from external entities. And bridge is what connects, land over water. So it connects you to other people that you normally would not connect yourself with. So you have to use that to your advantage. So build those bridges. And so in the process of when you build those bridges, you have to establish and maintain those good relationships. Because if you don't, that can lead to some trouble. So when you building your relationships, a good leader, no matter what, knows he or she cannot do nothing alone. It's going to take a team of somebody, whether it's your internal team or outside sources. Excuse me. So you have to utilize all the resources that you have available to you to help accomplish your goals sometime. So in the process of building these relationships and maintaining these relationships, sometimes you have to routinely reach out to your contacts. You may not want to, you may not have nothing to say, but just a simple email, just a simple phone call, simple text, just to communicate to make sure that everything is still good and your relationship is still progressing where it should go. And these are your professional coworkers, or your professional I'm trying to think of the word I'm looking for, but your professional network. So these are the people who may or may not be a benefit to you, but you never know. You never know. Also, when you're reaching out to these contacts, don't be afraid to offer help. So when you offer help, offer assistance before you ask for assistance. Because what you don't want is you build your clientele, all your contacts, and the only time you reach out to them is when you want something. At some point, they're going to stop communicating with you because they know anytime you reach out to them, you have a need. So don't be afraid to offer assistance. And how can you help them in return? So I'm trying to read through the comments also. But what do you have to offer them? How can you assist them? So you keep that relationship going. And you also find ways to connect with those who are less appreciated. And what I mean by those who are less appreciated in certain instances, meaning people who may not have the same level of authority as you. How do you treat those people? That is important too. Reach out to them, find out how they're doing. If it's somebody that's works in another office that, you may interact with on a, maybe not a regular basis, but every so often, it doesn't hurt to shoot an email just for a status, just to check on them or whatever the case may be. It may seem so minor, but I guarantee you it goes a long way. It goes a very long way. So just keep that in mind. Also, don't be afraid to give praise. When I talked about those who, may have a less position than you, don't be afraid to give them praise. And if you have people who may be above you or whatever the case may be, and they're part of your clientele, don't be afraid if you have been following their progress or their work. Don't be afraid to say that. Let them know that you've been following their work and, how good it may be or whatever the case may be. Give that praise. So building those relationships are very essential in your growth, and not just yours, but when you're trying to get something done. Because again, as I said earlier, you cannot do nothing alone. So you're going to always need some help. After you build your relationship and you maintain your relationship, one of the downfalls is when you destroy that relationship. So you cannot destroy the relationship. And what happens is, or how you destroy a relationship, again, I'm going through the comments, so forgive me. How you destroy a relationship is, one way is when you feel you have a sense of entitlement. When you think you may have a certain level of status with an individual, you think you're entitled to something. That's not the case. So don't feel entitled. And don't take these people for granted. Just because they may have helped you before, or just, you may think that, you have a decent relationship, you still don't take them for granted. So be careful with how you approach these individuals, because again, this is your professional network, and it could either sink you or sell you to new levels. And don't get in the mindset, and this is where a lot of people go wrong. They think their previous work will carry them into the future. But that goes back to, what have you done lately? We know what you have done in the past, but that's been 5 years, or that's been 4 years. What have you done lately? So you have to keep that in mind. So don't get wrapped around, well, I've done this, 3 years ago or a year ago. What have you done lately? So just keep that in mind. Also, a way to destroy the relationship is dominating the conversation. And I know at some point that you all have had a conversation with someone who completely dominated the conversation. It gets rather annoying after a while. And after a while, you tend to tune them out because you no longer want to listen to what they have to say because they dominated the conversation. So that is a contact or relationship you will destroy because they don't want to talk to you anymore. So just keep that in mind. Another thing, when you're having a conversation with somebody, and again, I'm pretty sure every last one of you know of a person, whether it's a professional person or someone in your personal life, who always has to top your story. You can be in a crowded room or just one-on-one or just a group of people telling a story, but there's that one person who has to outdo your story. Don't be that person that outdoes somebody's story, because again, that will ruin that relationship. Because again, you're dominating the conversation and you're trying to outdo somebody's conversation or someone's story or try to top it. That will not help your case at all. So just keep that in mind. So also, not being appreciative for things. You always have to be grateful, count your blessings, because everything that you have today can be gone tomorrow. So always be appreciative, always be thankful for everything that you have and the accomplishments, and let it be known, let it be seen, because no matter what someone does for you in your network, no matter how large or how small, let them know that you appreciate it. It could be something as simple as sending you a document that you don't have. That seems harmless, but at the same time, be grateful, be completely grateful, so they understand that, yes, you appreciate it, and it's good. Also, you know these people too. These individuals tell part of a story or half-truths. And what that does is ruin your credibility. It's easy to tell a part of a story if it frames your motives. But if it doesn't tell the whole story and allow someone to make a sound decision, you're doing them a disservice. So don't give them half-truths, part of a story, because that will ruin your credibility. So therefore, they will no longer have you as their network. You will destroy their relationship. And again, they wouldn't want to talk to you because they know you will never give them complete truth. You'll tell part of a story, and they have no reason to communicate with you at that point. Another way to ruin a relationship is not owning your mistakes. We understand that nobody is perfect. And again, no matter how great of a leader you may be, how much knowledge you may have, you're going to do something wrong. You're not always right, no matter what the circumstance is. So let's not get wrapped around and think you're right. If you are wrong, own it, acknowledge it, and apologize if need be. So don't be afraid to do that, because that speaks volumes, because there are many leaders out there who do not apologize or own their own mistakes. If you did it, own it, keep that bridge stable, keep that relationship in place. And also, the same people that you pass on the way up may be the same people you pass on the way down. So the people you were rude to, disrespectful to, you thought you were too good to talk to, and you smiling on your way to the top, as you fall from that ladder, they're going to look at you, and you're going to have the most horrific look on your face, because now you're on your way down. So keep that in mind. This is why it's important to treat everybody important at every level, which leads into my last segment of how you treat people is essential. Because how you treat people is ultimately a reflection of you and your character. they say treat people how you want to be treated, but I say treat people how you want someone to treat your children or your loved ones. Because you don't want nobody to disrespect your child. You don't want nobody to disrespect your loved ones. That is how you treat people. So that is essential in your relationships. Very essential. So be respectful regardless of position or location. And what I mean by position, no matter where you fall on the food chain, wherever you fall, it doesn't matter. Whether you 10 steps above somebody, it doesn't matter. You treat that person that's on the bottom the same way you'll treat that person on the top. You show them the same amount of respect. And regardless of location, it doesn't matter. Whether you're in a big old open room and trying to be funny, again, show them the same respect. If you want to laugh and crack a joke at someone who's pretty much at the bottom, would you tell that same joke about your supervisor? If not, then you shouldn't say it. So just keep that in mind. Also, treating people very well with respect is practice empathy, because it allows you to put yourself in someone's shoes. It allows you sometimes to see what they see. It allows you to see things through a different lens that you may not be used to, or a lens that you may never seen before. So what you do is get another perspective on things, and it gives you a clear understanding. And that is very important. You can't always look at things through your lens, because you will fail. You will fail, or you will have a lot of hard paths that you create for yourself for no reason along the way. So utilize all your resources. That means them too. And also practice compassion. So you got to be sympathetic and again, understand someone's needs. People may be going through things sometime. And if you're not sympathetic to their needs, then that will show them or give them the impression that you don't care. Give them the impression that you don't care. But in the process of all this, as you know, practicing empathy and having compassion, one thing that is important that ties those together, you have to be a good listener. You have to be a good listener. If you do not listen well, then what they're conveying to you might be pointless. It might not have no relevant substance because you chose not to listen properly. So that is like if someone come in your workspace or, you know, approach you with the conversation, how is your active listening skills? Are you going to actually listen? You need to be a good listener because it allows you to understand. It allows you to understand exactly what they're trying to convey to you. If you're not a good listener, you may not understand. So sometimes you have to stop what you're doing, stop trying to multitask, and just sit down and listen, or stand there, or whatever your situation is, the dynamics of your location, give them your undivided attention. And just to clarify, make sure you understand. So if that means you have to repeat what they say so they know you have a clear understanding, then do that. But that clears up the miscommunication, if any, but make sure you are a good listener. Also, be the change. Thank you. Also, be the change that you inspire in the relationships. So in other words, you have to practice what you preach. If you want somebody to be respectful, well, you got to be respectful too. If you want somebody to, you know, show a certain level of trust, then you have to do the same thing. So how you want, again, someone to treat your children or your loved ones is the same amount of respect that you need to show to other people, because that goes a long way. And these are the things that will help keep your relationships intact, whether it's professional or personal. And one of the last things I want to say, and someone in here said it already, which is I thought was interesting, maintain humility. Humility will go a very long way. Always be grateful. Always show that you are thankful. Always be humble. Never let success go to your head. Never. So when you're in a situation, let's say you're in a situation and something goes as planned. Well, that's okay. Be thankful that you are in the situation you're in, because that situation that you're going through could be a whole lot worse than what it is. So you have to find the silver lining in it and be grateful for that. And what you may experience is a learning experience. What are you going to get from that information? That is up to you. So you have to keep that in mind. And that is what I wanted to talk about building bridges. So I truly appreciate all of you. Again, I know this was a pop-up live chat, which again, I do every so often. I'll probably do another in the next week or so, but I thank you for your time. I truly appreciate you all supporting this page. A lot of time and effort goes into it. So again, I thank you. So with that, I'm going to end this live session now. So thank you again, and hopefully you all enjoy the rest of your day.